Blog Talk Radio.
This is Under the Mat Radio. This is your host, Tech, with co-host.
And I see Game Boy, what it is, what it do.
Yes, and we're here also with our lead correspondent.
Hey, this is Toph, the one black guy in the white movies. What's going on?
Yes, what's going on, man? I do apologize. I didn't mean lead, but our co-correspondent. We are here live. Today's episode is entitled Kayfabe Junkies, Under the Mat Radio, because coming on in a second, we're going to have the co-owner, founder of Kayfabe Commentaries, great company that does all of the different shoot interviews, such as YouShoot. They do the timelines where they go over a specific year and they're making it each retrospective territory. The man himself, Sean Oliver, we're going to bring him on in a second. Then also at the top of the hour, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to bring in comedian, writer, and actor himself, Nick Mundy, will be joining us, who will be talking about his new web series that he's doing with Chris Jericho called Nothing to Report. Real quick, before you bring on Sean Oliver, you can follow the show on Twitter at @tech_UTMR. You can follow NSC Game Boy at
NSC Game Boy, spelled correctly, please. Spell it correctly.
And you can follow our co-correspondent Toph on Twitter at
Toph knows best. The T, the K, and the B are all capital letters, like Hogan's show on VH1 that flopped in 2 seasons.
All right. You follow us on Facebook, Under the Mat Radio. Follow us on our like page and also on our group page. Follow us on YouTube, Under the Mat Radio. On Instagram, Under the Mat Radio, all one word. And if you need to email us, fans, of course, as you always do with any updates, anybody you would like to have onto the show, please email us at underthematsradio@gmail.com. With that being said, we're going to bring in the man himself, the man of the hour, of course, co-owner of Kayfabe Commentaries. Very well talented. Hopefully you're wondering if he's wearing a suit and a tie, as he always is on his productions. The man himself, Sean Oliver. Welcome, buddy.
You got me as the curtain jerker tonight. I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, no. Got to start the show off hot, right?
Who do I have to do the job to? Some writer? Maybe you said like I'm doing the job to some writer for Chris Jericho, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it's Nick Mundy. He's a comedian and writer. He's doing a web series called Nothing to Report with Chris Jericho. But you're not jobbing out to him, of course. We put you on first. We know you're a busy man. You got so much stuff going on. So when we got the time, wanted to bring you on while we had you.
That's it, man.
Starting it off hot like Wrestlemania 31, right?
Watch it?
Yes.
No, you don't got it.
Well, our co-host, NXT Game Boy, was there live, so he definitely got to see it up close and personal.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No.
Thank
you for your condolences.
Yeah. Sean, thanks much for being on to the show. Definitely appreciate it. If our intro wasn't good enough for you, did you want to give an intro of yourself? Let everybody know what else you do.
Well, for God's sakes, I mean, if you're listening to the show live, you should know who the hell you're listening to. For God's sake, so what do I do?
Cool.
Kayfabe Commentaries. We are, I would say, the premier producers of shoot-style programming. And most of the stuff you see out there, clips of on YouTube or reviews on sites, are probably going to be our stuff under the YouShoot brand or the Timeline brand, or most recently we had an edition of Breaking Kayfabe drop yesterday with Sabu, or Terry Brunk, I should say, as that series seeks to get behind get beneath the characters that were created for TV and get inside the real people.
Yes. Yes, we do thank you much for coming on and all of your great work. We are big fans of your work, definitely. Yesterday, as I told you before, Sean, we had Lanny Powerful last week onto the show, and he mentioned you have something coming up with him as well.
Yeah, YouShoot with Lanny drops on May 4th, I must say.
May 4th, okay.
All right, you're definitely going to be looking forward to it. Wow. Definitely can't wait to definitely check that out. I'm going to turn it over to my co-host so he can start things off. Do apologize, fans. Sean Oliver called his dropped. They were dealing with cell phone issues, so we're going to wait for him to give us a call back. This is live radio, so this definitely happens.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to edit anything.
Definitely don't.
Yeah.
Sean, you back with us, buddy?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're there. It's all fine.
We're fixing the technology. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, it does. NSC Game Boy?
Well, with you doing your shoot-style interviews and stuff, what is the most difficult task that you think has been really reoccurring while you do these type of videos?
Well, when I'm sitting there with a guest, I am wearing a few hats at the same time. I mean, I'm directing the show. I'm thinking about it in terms of production. But my most important task is to be an audience member when I'm sitting there. Having a discussion with somebody, there are times where I feel kind of totally sucked through the fourth wall, and I feel like truly an audience member watching the interview. And those shows are always the best because I'm really in the zone of what the viewer's going to want to hear. So I'm going to places that me as a viewer I want to go to, and it's not mechanical. It's not me just moving through a certain amount of material in a timely manner so that we get it all in. It becomes really like flight almost. The discussion just kind of takes off, and you just kind of forget about all those production elements, and I get sucked into the show. So those are the best moments. The most challenging moments are when, for whatever reason, maybe the chemistry isn't there as much with the guest, or I, quite frankly, don't care about the subject matter that we're talking about. And it becomes mechanical, and it becomes me worrying about timing and editing in my head and saying, well, is this a trailer moment here, or are we going to be able to move this segment that he's talking about now to later on in the show? And it becomes too mechanical. So that's the challenge, to make it an organic discussion instead of a manufactured interview.
Okay, get that natural feel.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
That's the best.
All right. Yes. Want to ask you, Sean, that, of course, you have your company, Kayfabe Commentaries, and, of course, there's other companies out there, our Video, Rob Feinstein, there's Hotspots that do shoot interviews as well. When you started Kayfabe Commentaries, what was your main concern going into it of not trying to be like them?
Well, the first product we launched with were audio commentary tracks, thus the commentaries in Kayfabe Commentaries. So the first product we came out with was downloadable MP3 commentaries for wrestling matches. So we would bring one of the talent in, watch a match with them, and then commentary to a DVD. You could watch the match on YouTube or your own copy of the DVD, but play our MP3 that you downloaded on your, on your iPod or whatever, while you watch the match. So we weren't in the video game at all, the DVD game at all at that point. After, I don't know, maybe about 6 months of that, I realized that we would be able to do the full shoot interviews on video and offer so much more because it hadn't evolved in like 15 years since its inception. It was still mostly guys with their head on a platter talking. for hours and hours about who trained them and whatnot. So we came to it from an angle of what if we applied formatting to it and actually made them shows. Now, of course, everyone tries to do that, but you got to understand, no one was doing that back then. It was really just straightforward guys talking at the camera. So the first series we launched with was Guest Booker, where we have a booker on to rebook an era in wrestling that they were not working at the time.
Right.
And then from there we went to YouShoot, where the fans conduct the entire interview via emailed questions and videos, and we would have some of the more the lightning rods of the business, the big mouths on that show, so they could answer the more interesting fan questions in an entertaining way. And then after that, came the Timeline series and a whole bunch of things. But what we felt we could offer that nobody else was doing was A, professional production, because that was my background, and B, formatting, traditional televised formatting to these shows instead of just these straightforward interviews.
Okay. I definitely agree with that. Where your style was very different, and it seems like you have a lot of fun with your work instead of just the cookie cutter. When did you start? How did you start this year? Where did you go? Instead of it, going into a lot of your productions, you always can expect something different. It's always something funny instead of just the mundane. Going over when you started in the business to now, you always can look for something different.
Yeah, we had to do something different. That stuff was already out there, and it was out there for 10 years. So we had to get this thing to the next level, and that's the challenge we're always having, that I'm always bringing up at our meetings and whatnot, is what is next. And we were at the forefront with a lot of things. We were at the forefront with formatting these type of shows, formatting shoot interviews in general, and it's become so mainstream now that, in essence, a lot of the WWE Network programming is just basically formatted shoot interviews now. They have the advantage of being able to put the footage on. We, of course, have the advantage of being able to tell the truth over them. But so that's always the challenge. What's next? We move to the on-demand service, so we're always pushing for what's next. We always want to be leading the pack and certainly not following.
Okay. Thank you for that. Toph?
Hey, Mr. Oliver. I just want to say that your shoots really helped me when I was taking my college-level courses. So many times I'd just be studying for a test, and I would just listen to your work, to keep me focused, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm studying, I fall asleep. So I just wanted to tell you that on the phone. And the other question I have for you is, and this is like a serious, legit question, what is it with the fans' obsession with asking the different folks on your show about Batista's private areas? Is that like a rib or something, or some kind of inside joke?
I don't know where it started. Well, firstly, I thank you for the compliment. I've never once been thanked for getting anyone through college, so that's a first in any capacity, and in keeping you awake.
Right.
But the Batista deal, I don't know where that started. It was a thing on YouShoot. People just, every show they would send in a question about the size of Batista's dick, and then they would get creative about ways to work it in to the different talent. And I guess it kind of took on a life of its own. I mean, I know the boys all talk about it, and WWE, that's kind of the big joke when I meet people, the first thing that they bring up. So they seem to enjoy it. I guess Batista has had a laugh at it himself, one would hope. And I almost hope we never get the answer to that question, let me just say. It's kind of like the cliffhanger that has to go on forever. Once we found out who shot JR, there's a reference for you showing my age, by the way. Once we find out who shot JR, and I don't mean Jim Ross, he's fine, you jump the shark there. So hopefully the size of Batista's genitalia will forever remain a mystery. One could only hope.
It's funny, Sean, have you ever been asked questions about Virgil's? Because in the business, they do call him Baby Arm. So everybody asks you about Batista's, but has anybody asked you about Virgil's?
Well, there are others that should be asked about, right? Well, I guess we know the answer to that is the reason that it's not asked about Virgil. Too Cold Scorpio is supposed to have a Somalian child in the pants, for Christ's sake.
Right.
Lord Alfred Hayes would on Roddy Piper's timeline. He said Lord Alfred Hayes would chase him around the locker room swinging it. Roddy, doing full revolutions with his prick. So apparently he's in there. And then you always hear about the other one who we did a guest booker with, Robert Fuller, who apparently put a fucking arm lock on his own deal there. It's listen. I guess a lot of time now I'm realizing is spent on our program talking about dicks, and we're doing it again.
Yeah. Sean, would you mind taking a caller from a fan?
No, let's go. Who's out there?
Okay. Area code 518. Welcome to Under the Mat Radio with Sean Oliver.
Sean, guys, good evening. Sean, I realize that besides being a big fan of wrestling, you're also a big fan of cinema. So there's 3 movies: Birdman, Boogie Nights, and The King of Comedy. In your time in owning a wrestling production company and working the convention circuit and working with these retired superheroes, superstars, how has working in this business added perspective to those 3 movies I've named?
Okay, you got to give them to you again. King of Comedy,
Boogie Nights, and Birdman.
Boogie Nights and Birdman. Birdman I didn't see yet. Boogie Nights and King of Comedy. Well, yeah, interesting selections. I see where you're going with that.
Now, by the way, I must add, I don't have a replica YouShoot stage in my mother's basement, and I don't have a bad mustache either.
Right. Well, nor do I. I sometimes have some facial hair, but
that was a Rupert Bucket.
Lord, may I never meet the individual who does have the cardboard YouShoot set up in the basement with a foam Sean Oliver. May I never run into that person at the supermarket, please. Like I said, didn't see Birdman. 2 very good movies that you've referenced, of course. King of Comedy, a brilliant depiction of our skewed view on fame and the pursuit thereof, and kind of the twisted visions that we give ourselves about for those people with aspirations to get into entertainment. And, of course, Boogie Nights, which is an interesting commentary, not so much on, for me anyway, it wasn't so much on the personalities associated with the adult industry in that film, but it was more the medium. That's what fascinated me about the film. The film, to me, was about the rise and fall of pornography, of what pornography, the adult film industry was at the time, because of technology's advancements. In the film, the thud of VHS coming into that business's lives are what enabled it to make it a ton more money, because people could bring it home as opposed to having to go to a theater to whack off. But it also killed the art, because it became a grindhouse. It was crank it out, and it was schlock basically. So parallels to wrestling itself or business, I do wonder, as the digital age advances, what will happen to owners of digital media companies. We're certainly challenged by a lot of this stuff now. There is a pervasive notion by anybody who's under 30 years old that if something's digital, it's free, and the people who work to create it do not have to be paid. It's not so much their fault. It's kind of the culture they're growing up in. They either share it, post it, torrent it world. I think those people would probably have a problem if I went to their employers and asked for their paycheck so they didn't get paid for the work they did that week. But I digress into logic. So I guess the parallel to Boogie Nights is with the introduction of video into the porn industry and how accessible it made that product to the mainstream, therein watering down the quality, because people could get into it very easily now that probably shouldn't have been. Same thing here with digital media. As we advance and digital media, it becomes cheaper to do these things. I was a film student, and I was in film school right on the cusp of like digital editing coming in. The Avid, which was the first digital editing machine, versus cutting on a guillotine and splicing with tape, which is how I learned. Shooting on film, learning how to work a film camera, a motion picture camera. The indie film movement, when you could shoot on video and edit on video, it opened the door to a whole new world. But quite frankly, a lot of people who walked in that door had no fucking business being in it. So the difficulty in succeeding in a medium is kind of like a litmus test. It's very hard to get into the NBA for a fucking reason because I have no business in it. But if there was a court in every city in the world, it would definitely allow folks in that don't have that don't make the grade. That was a long ass answer. Let me just tell you that.
I didn't even get to the King of the Comedy parallel. I was thinking with you going into all the wrestling conventions and actually meeting these crazy fans, that would be somewhat of a parallel to, I don't know, again.
To Rupert Pupkin. To Rupert Pupkin.
Rupert Pupkin. And he's very, I always liked Rupert Pupkin because there's always a sad little boy in that maniacal man that I've always seen.
Yeah, there's a touching element to that character, and he goes on to kidnap the Jerry Lewis character and whatnot. But there's a sadness in that character, and I don't really see that in a lot of the guys. I mean, there's folks showing up, that probably do still live in their parents' basements, and they carry very big wrestling belts around. But you know what? When I look into those people's eyes, I see a love. I see a true love of the business. I see a real love and admiration for the wrestlers that entertained them, through their childhood and for years. And I don't see the desperation in a Rupert Pupkin. I'll tell you something that did bother me that there was a little bit more of a parallel to was one scene in particular in The Wrestler, the Mickey Rourke film, where he's kind of hit the skids. And he's doing the convention circuit, and I think there's one scene where he gets fucked out of a payday by, like, these young promoters. And, being around the convention circuit a little bit, you do kind of see interesting promoter-type characters float in and out. And I remember calling my business partner, Anthony, at one point. We were talking about the film, and I said, God, is that us? Like, is that the level we're working at? Like, is our cameo in the film in that fucking scene when some kid in a Devil's jersey is telling Randy the Ram that there's no money left to pay him? Like, are we sitting there waiting to take him into the next room to shoot, to ask him how big Batista's dick is on camera? So it felt weird kind of positioning ourselves in part of that world. Because let's face it, I mean, we do work with some high-profile talent, but some of the folks we work with, too, are to put it politely, on the downside of their career. So that did resonate a little bit, seeing that scene.
Right. Well, caller, thank you much for calling in. Could we get your name?
Oh, this is Salvatore from Albany, New York. I actually had a second question, but he's taken enough of my time, and I appreciate it much.
No, go ahead, Salvatore.
Okay.
You took the time to dial the fucking 10 numbers. Ask me the question.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Sean and I are around the same age, and we tend to romanticize a lot of wrestlers, but for myself, and perhaps for him, Jake Roberts is a very, very big deal. And my question, and again, I know he's gone over this, but I think there's things that haven't been touched about, and I'm not going to ask too much, but about that breaking kayfabe that never emanated, that never production. So I won't ask the obvious questions of why did he walk off, this, that. I don't care about that. I did have two questions, though. Did Jake have this intangible aura that, kind of like the same aura that Vince McMahon has known to have famously? Because, during those breaking kayfabes, Sean is in a very intimate proximity to his interview subjects. So that's my first part of that question. Second part is, if that would have been filmed to completion, would there have been a part discussing, and I know Sean is an actor, and there's he knows a lot about Stanislavski and the method. Would there have been a discussion eventually about what Jake's method was to his amazing promos? Salvatore, first, can I ask you, will you be my biographer? Will you write my biography someday? To write a book, I think you've had to read a book once, and I'm just some dumb wop from New York.
Yeah, well, listen, it seems you're well versed in our programming and in me. Well, the incident that Salvatore speaks of, if nobody knows, we sat down with Jake to film a Breaking Kayfabe, which again is that intimate show that seeks to talk about the outside of the ring lives of the talent. Jake became very quickly uncomfortable when he saw what direction things were headed. And as sometimes happens, the talent isn't fully prepped on what we're doing. When I'm able to talk to the talent beforehand, we're fine. But a lot of times there are blockades between me and the talent. In this case, and I don't mean it in a negative way as a blockade. Sometimes it is negative, but in this case, I was going through DDP for everything regarding Jake. I gave him the pitch. I told him I guess it didn't make it to Jake's ears, or he didn't remember. So yes, it was a very we got just a few minutes on camera. We have the whole thing on camera. Someday maybe we can put that out as an interesting little free online thing. Jake dismantling the interview and throwing his money down and asking to be driven back to his hotel. But would I have gone into his promos? I'm trying to think. I mean, I had the whole show written. I had all the cards written. There was a lot of very heavy on the family stuff and the difficulties in that home, in the Roberts, the Grizzly Smith home. And good Lord, there was a ton to talk about there. With all that's happened there, I don't know if we would have ever gotten to his promos. Perhaps I can work in Stanislavski in an upcoming shoot. I will try. We're shooting Rikishi in 2 weeks. Maybe he has something to say about the method. I'll try.
There's a lot of sense memory for his work, I'd assume.
I am going to try and measure the actual circumference of his ass. We discussed this the other day. Anthony brought it up. He's like, do we dare ask to get a measurement on the full circumference of his ass?
Oh, yeah.
Of course I'll do it. If you can get the measuring tape, I'll do it.
And
that's how a lot of these ideas are born, just the random little ideas like that turn into gold.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. I'm satisfied, but I'm going to see the Terry Bronk Breaking Kayfabe tonight, and I look forward to that powerful YouShoot on the 5th. That's going to be amazing.
Well, thanks for being there for us. I appreciate your fandom.
Thanks, man.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you, Salvatore.
Yeah, thanks for calling, man.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean, for that. There's no problem. But of course, we do this show for the fans, and anytime any fans have questions or 2 or 3 questions, we have no problem of letting them answer, letting them ask the questions and get thorough answers. So that's all fine.
Listen, he was a well-spoken, intelligent wrestling fan. You don't let the guys like that go. You keep them on the phone as long as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is true. Sean, we have another question from a fan. Wants to know about New Jack. Any stories working with New Jack?
I like New Jack a lot. We get along really well. We have a good thing, I think, when we're on camera. I think Jack likes us. I've always been real cool with Jack.
I think you don't know if Jack didn't like you.
What's that?
I think you don't know if New Jack didn't like you.
You'd know right away if New Jack didn't like you.
Yeah, right.
The minute the blade entered your rib cage, you would know that Jack didn't like you. No, Jack has his. It's sometimes a challenge working with Jack. The Terry Funk roast that we did, Ring Roast 2, a tribute to Terry Funk, was one. New Jack was in an interesting state of mind that day, and he'll tell you himself that he was doing a lot of cocaine in the bathroom prior to the show, is what he indicated to me. And so he was on fire that night. So he was starting with fans, with fucking wrestlers in the crowd. Yeah. We actually cut a lot of his stuff out of the final cut because it was just getting to be too much. They kind of had to just pull him aside and say, "Listen, could you just stop?" But listen, man, Jack's always delivered for us. He knows the deal. He's a good guy. I've never been in the ring with him though. Let me just clarify that. I own a production company. For our productions, he's been great. I've never had to take a headbutt or an elbow drop or have him X-Acto knife my head.
Don't forget the cheese grater.
Right.
I want to ask you, T, before I turn it over back to Game Boy. Of course, I love showing your facial expressions when you do any of your shoots, especially the YouShoots or breaking kayfabe or what have you with the timelines. Let us know the times that you've been really frustrated with working with some of the talent on air. You haven't necessarily said it, but you think you hear like, oh gosh, this isn't going the way I want, or maybe the talent isn't cooperating, or maybe the fans' questions. Let us know some of your frustrating moments on air.
Yeah, the YouShoot China I was not a fan of. It felt like it was like trying to play handball with a noodle. It was just, it wasn't coming back, and it wasn't going the way we wanted it. So I don't think that's one of our stellar moments. I'm trying to think offhand if there are any other times that I was, but there are times where I am frustrated, where it's very obvious that things are not going the way they are. But then there's times where things are difficult, but I know it's going to be good programming, and that's okay. Like Jamie Dundee's YouShoot,
right?
Where he was wildly out of control. I think at one point he's on me, twerking me, and while I wished I was elsewhere at the moment, I was also very aware that it was good for the program. So, I was not entirely unhappy. I mitigated my displeasure about being twerked by Jamie Dundee and having my forehead kissed a lot by him throughout the show.
Sure felt good.
Because I knew they would make for good trailer moments.
I will say personally, we can say this. We're friends with Jamie Dundee. I spoke to Jamie Dundee about maybe a month ago when his father was in town. And Jamie Dundee personally wanted me to tell you, Sean, that he sends his apologies. He's a different man. He's cleaned himself up. He wants to send his apologies that he is very much embarrassed on how he acted on your YouShoot. He also did say if there's any chance down the line of maybe doing another one with him being, more sober, what have you, just let him know. So that's his personal message. If he's sober, absolutely not. I have no intentions of putting him on camera to stand there like a choir boy and tell me how wrong his life was. I love the Jamie Dundee of old. He can be on at any time. Yes, that is a, and he called me up and told me random. A lot to you not was half asleep. He called me, hey brother, James, hey what's up brother, and asked me if I knew who you were. So yeah, let him know. I don't mind doing another one. I feel so bad. Jamie talks kind of fast with that, but
I feel bad. You know what happened? We handed him his money. He walked out the door, got on a plane, went back home, and was arrested that night partying with the money. It's a true story. He was popped for, I guess, possession or driving under the influence or something that night. So I felt somewhat responsible for being part of the payday that got him popped that night. So apologize to him for me.
Okay, I have another Facebook question from a fan. I think his name is Jeff. It says, were you satisfied with the recent Del Rio YouShoot? Seems like Del Rio really didn't give too much away, but I keep saying, I don't know.
Well, the stuff that he said I don't know to, I'm assuming he didn't know, but I thought that he took a very big risk in talking about his displeasure with WWE as much as he did. I don't understand people who are saying that he wasn't forthcoming. I guess on a couple of stupid questions about, like, was Michael Hayes fucking some diva? Yeah, I guess he said, I don't know. I just heard what you heard. But on the issue of the slap and racism in the business and the office mistreating stars, he had signed an agreement with WWE that he wasn't going to talk about that, as far as I know, and he was very open about that. So about the big important topics like what it's like to work in modern-day WWE and his displeasure with the direction the product went, I thought he was very forthcoming. I mean, I'm sorry he didn't tell you who Michael Hayes was fucking. I mean, I guess if that's that important, I guess they'd be disappointed in the DVD. But I thought taking us inside that moment where he slapped the social media worker and demanding the apology based on what he had said, and the guy laughing at him, I thought he was very open about that and took and pulled no punches about taking responsibility for what he did.
Mm-hmm. All right, GB.
Okay, well, my next question to you is, well, if you have done so many interviews and really been in the business for so long as now, can you name us what your unicorn is? What is that one guest, male or female, that you've been trying to get that you just can't seem to make it work? What has been your unicorn?
Pat Patterson for guest booker. Mick Foley to do Timeline 1998, WWE. Jerry Lawler for guest booker. Been around the block a lot of times, and I'm going to keep trying. By golly, I'm going to keep trying. I asked for another introduction to Pat Patterson coming up this June, so I will have his ear for a few minutes, and we'll see where that goes. We'll keep trying. I know that my time will come with everyone in the business that we want. And I know that from a programming standpoint, and I know that from a negotiating standpoint also. When I'm going back and forth with a particular talent and we can't agree on the price, I know that patience will prevail, and it always does. The marketability of some of these guys is kind of like the stock market, and sometimes you got to wait for the price to come down, and then you buy the stock when it's where you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for that, Toph.
Yeah, the next question that I have is sometimes, like, when I watch the YouShoots, they're entertaining and they're cool, but you find out a lot of personal things about a lot of people in the business, and sometimes you can kind of change your opinion on them as a person. And the one for me that really kind of shocked me, I'm still kind of recovering from it, was I believe a while back you had a YouShoot with Teddy Long, and Teddy Long went into detail about some of the racism that he encountered, and he talked about how one of the guys that always messed with him was Ric Flair, and I've always been a big Ric Flair fan, and it was the first I've heard of any type of racist story with him, and I still respect him as an athlete and as a performer and stuff like that, but it's kind of hard to look at the wrestlers the same as a person. So my question is, like, when you're interviewing, like, these stories you hear, because, sometimes you get bitter guests and sometimes you get happy guests, and sometimes they tell, like, personal, real-life stuff. Does it affect, like, how you view them as a person? Do you, like, separate them, like, as a performer and as the person, or does it affect how you view them, I guess? Does it change anything,
Well, that's an interesting question. There is a divide. You do have to make that separation. When they're performing, whether it's sitting there with me on air or whether it's when they were in the ring or cutting a promo, entertaining the fans at home, that's work. And that's like the plumber coming to your house to fix the sink. He's great at his job, maybe. Best plumber you've ever had, reasonably priced, and you're very happy with the job. Now, do we take that a step further? Should I tell you about your plumber's personal life? Should I tell you he's a deadbeat dad, or he beat his wife, or he was arrested, or, like, how much do you want to know about your plumber? Because you fixed your sink and you're happy. So you do have to make a divide.
Good point.
So there are times where I had personal interactions that it's par for the course. Nobody really throws me for a loop. I was in the entertainment business for 20 years. It was filled with crackpots and fruitcakes. So, nobody really knocks me for a loop. Every once in a while I may be disappointed. But it, honest to God, has nothing to do with the product on camera for me. I could be dealing with a total douchebag, but as long as the red light goes on and I have the product I want, That's what the agreement was. The agreement was the product. The agreement between me and the talent was to give me a certain product, and the agreement between my company and the viewers that I give them a certain product. As long as that tacit contract is not broken, I'm fine with them being a scumbag to me off camera.
All right.
I don't
That's
have
a
any
great
agreement
question.
I don't have an agreement with anyone that they have to be nice or not haggle with money or, you know, I have the option to not hire them again or fire them on the spot. But the thing that is sacred is the contract for what goes on camera and the contract for what I put out to viewers. That's what's most important. And to be honest, almost every performer I've worked with has held true to that contract because they are performers themselves and they understand that.
Just want to say too, Sean, we definitely so far we thank you for being forthcoming and very honest with your answers. That's something that we do on the show. We take pride in is that everybody we've had on the show, Jim Ross or Dr. Tom Pritchard or AJ Styles, everybody's been honest with us and been straight to the point instead of sugarcoating things, and we definitely love that about you too, that you're very honest. You're not holding anything back, so we appreciate you doing that.
Well, I mean, I'm on the other side of the coin all the time. I'm in your position. I don't want to sit there and have somebody go, well, I really can't talk about that. I can't talk about that. What the fuck are you on for? Stay off the fucking phone then. So, I mean, I understand.
Right. Want to ask you, of course, one of my personal favorites is the series you have, which is called Most, where you have the most botched or the most controversial moments or the you know, the gimmicks. I love that. And one of the things, I would agree in art, I'm an artist as well, and I always laugh at those little animated videos with you see like Sting or Hogan or Ultimate Warrior and like the little music. I always laugh at that, and I love it. Because visuals are very important. And when me and my buddies at NFC Game Boy saw one of them cracking, I was like, look at that. You see little Hogan, and they actually look pretty good. I don't know who does the artwork, but I really do enjoy that.
It was an element that we wanted to add to the series. We kind of the design for the series was kind of comic bookish. So I had seen a couple of funny animations online somewhere that we tracked down to a guy named Jonathan Swinton over in the UK. So I contacted him and I said, listen, we have this series that we're going to be coming out with real soon. If I sent you over some scenarios, would you be able to do the cartoony animations? Keep them very, very rough. Don't make it slick and smooth. Like, keep it very rough and cartoony. I mean, that's where the comedy's going to come from in these. And he's great. I mean, he knocks them out very quickly, and, you know, we pay him well for them. And I'm glad you like them. Let somebody notice them, for Christ's sake. It's good to hear that your work gets appreciated every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. What's your honest viewpoints on that series? Me, personally, I love it. I definitely look forward to seeing more of those. And also, too, my second question is, how much editing goes into that? Because I know a lot of it, you see people talking, and then it's like, cut them off, and then you go to somebody else. So how long are those segments really in real time before you have to edit those?
Yeah, I actually enjoy it. Cutting that show is the toughest edit job we have. But I enjoy it because it's like putting together a piece of music. You know, imagine this. We're doing the countdown of the most controversial moments, right? And we've got an interview with 12 people. So I have on the timeline there 12 people talking about the most controversial moments. Now, within each person's 3 or 4 minute commentary on those moments in the countdown, there are probably 2 or 3 edit points. So I'm going to pull out, I'm going to find the sound bites. I look through, and they're very obvious where the sound bite is. Boom. So I cut it, trim it, put it to the side. So then once I've got everybody's comments trimmed and snipped and put to the side, then if you watch these shows, you'll notice that the conversation is a very natural conversation. It's almost like them talking to each other. So I've got to find a way where one person's comment is thematically similar to someone else's, or maybe it's complete opposite, and that's when it's really funny. Like when someone says, "Oh, that is the greatest, definitely the most controversial moment." Bang, to the edit of someone going, "That's ridiculous. That doesn't belong on there." So sometimes you could have fun doing that. But for the most part, those like 10-minute segments on each of the numbers of the countdown, thematically, it has to sound like a conversation. So those edits from one person to the other, it all kind of sounds like they're sitting in the same room almost. It sounds very hard, but it comes very natural to me. It's almost like cutting together a piece of music. You start to know, like, oh, what do we need here? We need someone here talking about King Kong Bundy's ass. And I think somebody mentioned King Kong Bundy's ass. And you flip through and they go, oh, yep, Fred Ottner talked about the ass. And you move in and you trim it and you make sure it works. And it should flow. Those individual countdown moments should have a kind of a flow to them. They're fun to edit.
I definitely do enjoy that. What ideas have you had so far for the next countdown?
We're doing something different with the next Wrestling's Most. Of course, you've all seen the Wrestling's Most version that's on the WWE Network now, right? Called Countdown.
Right.
Where would they be if they were not borrowing from us constantly?
Exactly.
The next we're going to drop an entire series on the same day, kind of like a House of Cards thing. So the season 3 of Wrestling's Most is going to be Wrestling's Most Creative Booker, Wrestling's Most Overlooked Hall of Famer. What else was there in there? Wrestling's Most Shocking Heel Turn. And there's another one. There's 4 of them. I think we're going to do one for free on YouTube as an exclusive. And then the other 3 are going to drop the same day, all as one episode. So you'll get them all on one DVD or all on one on-demand rental. And it's the guests for that one are Matt Stryker, Sean Waltman comes back. We have Abyss, Joseph Park, some fun guests.
All right. Will you ever go beyond 5? Will you ever end up doing the top 10? Or will you just stick with 5?
You know what? Our intention was to do 10. But after we were talking to these guys, I felt it would have been overkill to talk about, like, the best manager, to do 10 of them. It just, to make it 1 hour and make it move really, really fast and cover just the 5, it just felt right. 10, it just seemed way too long when we were shooting. I think the sweet spot is 5. It moves fast. It's a fun, short show, and I think that's the magic number.
That is a good point. Definitely is. GB?
Yeah, I was just agreeing with you. I think 5 is plus it helps people's attention span nowadays. You know, if you have a lot of them and you got so much information and everything, you know, I think condensing it down to, you know, something that you already done, you know, I think that would be much easier for people's minds to remember instead of it being, you know, so much and, you know, you're like, oh, yeah, you know, it's just sometimes it can be, you know, overbearing on a person.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
too much
think about
knowledge.
it. I mean, you enjoy the show. They're like 1 hour each with the countdown of 5. Imagine one episode being 2 hours. Don't you think it would feel long talking about managers in that format for 2 hours? Too much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I agree with that. I do. Toph?
No, I pretty much asked all the questions that I was going to. Appreciate listening and stuff. Wish we can have you in the future on a future episode. No, I was just saying that I didn't have any more questions to ask you, and it was really a great pleasure talking to you, and I'd like to interview you again on a future episode. I might have more questions, but, I mean, your YouShoots are usually good. Like, for me, it's like the better you are at your craft, the less questions I have, and it's like everything you do is just kind of straightforward. So I think that you're kind of one of the more underlooked talents out there. A lot of people don't want to listen to the YouShoots because they think it's just a bunch of bitter wrestlers, but it's not always the case. There's sometimes it's just like what you were saying earlier. I actually enjoyed El Patron's interview with you because he was kind of humble. It wasn't really ask WWE this, ask WWE that. I mean, he's just pretty honest, straightforward, and he just kept to the point. I think a lot of fans may have been disappointed with that particular interview because they were expecting just a pipe bomb, I guess, but not everyone's like that. So, I didn't really have any more questions. I was just really listening to you guys. It was a pleasure talking to you.
No, I'm glad you asked what you did. Hope I helped.
Well, yeah, and I want to say to Sean and me and it's a game where we did definitely love your work, and that is something when we started the show. We kind of patterned some of our work from yours because you are straightforward. You do a lot of things for the fans. I love that your interviews, some of your shoots, actually incorporate the fans' questions and let the fans be able to ask instead of always us asking the questions, give the fans a chance to get their answers asked too. So we definitely love that also.
Well, that's the magic formula of YouShoot. It's the most democratic show out there. When people complain about YouShoots and the questions and the videos, I say, listen, motherfucker, you're the host of that show. So I don't want to hear shit. You want better questions? How many did you send in? That's what I tell people. You are the host of that show. I will take the fall for any timeline. I will take the fall for any guest booker. For YouShoot, you are asking the fucking questions. So if you thought the questions sucked, you should have sent better questions in or sent any questions in at all.
Okay. Sean, who is John the Revelator? The older black guy? Who? Always love when he comes on.
It's my dad. My dad,
really?
longtime wrestling fan. Yeah, my adoptive father. No, he, God, how did he first surface? Adam K., who Adam was kind of like a super fan back in the day. He used to send a lot of videos, and he used to ask questions himself on the YouShoots, but he would also then go out and find ex-wrestlers and just get these like little oddball videos of, John the Revelator dressed as a chicken or something, and he would send them, and Adam has since moved up here. I told him when he graduated college, I said, listen, if you come up here and you want some part-time work, we'll hire you. So he works with us now in production. But he found them, and Adam is from Louisiana. So John the Revelator is down in Louisiana somewhere, bouncing around the state with I get the sense there's a lot of prompting him to do certain things. I'm fairly certain he has no idea what he's asking most. I think he's seen some of these. I think Adam has shown him the final product. I think he's very unimpressed by the whole process, and he's just happy being John the Revelator. And what else do you need really, but a little John the Revelator sometimes.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to NSC Game Boy.
Well, this is the part of the show what I do what's called a NSC question. I usually am the controversial one. I usually ask the most controversial question to our guests to give our fans a chance to really pick the brains and go out, we could say balls deep. Two questions. My first question is that tell me your views and your opinions on Rob Feinstein.
Rob, in business with me, I've never had a problem with Rob. Rob is a vendor. His company, RF Video, is a vendor of our merchandise. So we've always kind of had that relationship where he sells our product. We do business together frequently in that sometimes we'll assist each other in getting talent out to a certain place, and he's always been very good in business from that standpoint. He's been honest with me. I've never had an issue with Rob. Rob's actually always been a pleasure to work with. We are, of course, in a sense, competitors because he puts out programming and we put out programming. We do the best we can to make sure we don't step on each other's toes with certain releases. When we know we're working with the same talent, we will come to an agreement that we stagger the release dates so as not to step on each other's programming. Now, I'm assuming where the question is more intended was from his personal life and incidents that he's had in the past that have come to light on video and whatnot.
There you go. Smart man.
There you go.
All I can say about it is my hopes would have been if that door opened in that house and someone behind that door was an underage individual, that Rob would have certainly come to his senses and removed himself from any troublesome situation and said, "Nice to meet you, have a nice day," and turned around and left. I would hope that he would not have done anything that would have put him in a precarious situation. It's one thing to fantasize on your computer when you get to the point where you're going to do anything physically. I would certainly hope that he would have reconsidered and made a different decision. But it never went that far anyway.
There you go. Zach, back to you.
Sean, we do thank you much for your time. Having you on, definitely been a great pleasure having you on here. Anything that you feel you want to plug or anything that you want to promote before we let you go?
Well, we got, Breaking Kayfabe with Terry Brunk's Sabu, which just dropped, which is a good look inside the man behind the character. And if anyone has ever tried to keep themselves hidden inside of a character, it's certainly Sabu. Lenny Paffo's YouShoot's coming up next month. This summer is going to be a big one. We got two big ones if you're a fan of the Timeline History of WCW series. Jim Cornette covers 1989, and I don't have to tell you that's the year Jim Herd came aboard. So it's an expletive-filled edition. And then a biggie in August with the release of Eric Bischoff's edition of Timeline History of WCW, where he covers 1994, which is really the year when he took a grasp of that company, negotiated bringing Hulk Hogan in, and you get to hear about the genesis of that entire deal. That's going to be amazing, too. That's a signature edition as well, for those of you that like our signature editions, where we have the replica discs, autographed, that you can put up on your wall. We're going to have a signature edition of the Eric Bischoff. So good stuff coming down the pike.
Yes, definitely cannot wait. Sean, hopefully we can have you back on down the line for part 2. We can get more into your career dealing with film and more into wrestling, if that's cool with you.
Well, that's cool with me. I did get to talk about The King of Comedy tonight, which is a favorite film of mine, so I am happy. I'm awful at this, by the way. KayfabeCommentaries.com. Did I say that ever in the last hour? No, I did. KayfabeCommentaries.com or ShootInterviews.com. We'll get you to the same place. That's our front door, and believe me, that's where you want to be.
Yes. Thank you much, man, and we definitely look forward to having you on very soon.
Peace.
Take care, man.
Thank you. Everybody, that was the man himself, Sean Oliver, co-owner of Kayfabe Commentaries. Of course, he has a very extensive career in movies and film. We didn't get a chance to get into that, but next time we bring him on, we will have him. He's worked on films such as Kings of Comedy, The Devil Wears Prada, the movie Salt with Angelina Jolie. He's worked on TV shows such as Sons of Liberty, The Americans, Bleed Bloods, which is a shout out to my mom, one of her favorite TV shows. So he's done a lot of things in the line of film, movies, and in wrestling. Before we bring in our next guest, NXT Game Boy, your thoughts of Sean Oliver?
Well, Mr. Oliver was a class act all the way. I was actually kind of anticipating this interview from when Lanny was telling us, and plus, a lot of the YouShoots he's done, been very informative. And, it really kind of gels together, like Toph was saying earlier. It really got a good feel, and, he was a great guy. And hopefully we can bring him back so he can get a chance to elaborate more on his film career and everything. But, cool dude, and I hope the fans enjoyed it.
Great. Toph?
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Sometimes you look at people and you just think that they're nice on the job, but in person it's not the same. But then some people are, like the people you see them at work, they are the same in real life, and he's just one of those dudes. And we should have him again in the future. He's just all around real chill guy, and interviews and the questions all just come off very, very well. It doesn't seem like it's forced or anything. Just a really good host, and it was cool talking to him.
Yes, I feel very honored to have Sean on the show. Definitely, we got a chance. We done work with Rob Feinstein, and of course now we done work with Sean Oliver, and two are both very great at what they do in the respects of shoots, interviews, and productions in their own rights in the world of wrestling. So definitely great to have Sean Oliver. Fans, it has took a while to bring him in. We finally got him. He's been a great guest, and we thank him for his time. With that being said, right now we're about to bring in, right now, live, our next guest. He's a known comedian, actor, writer. You've seen him on Screen Junkies, our good old buddies, Howard Rutnick, on their show, where he's talked very passionately, sometimes yelling, and even screaming and slamming the tables about movies and whatnot. He currently is doing a great web series called Nothing to Report with Chris Jericho, Y2J, bringing in the man himself now, Nick Mundy. Welcome, brother.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys. Big fans. That was quite the intro.
Yes.
And if you thought I yelled a lot about movies and stuff, that's nothing compared to wrestling. So that's where the passion is. I've been watching it my whole life. So.
Yes, wrestling will make you yell.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Wrestling will make you yell.
Yeah. And, you know,
kind of go hand in foot.
Yeah, this WrestleMania there were some yell out moments on this one, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
But like not in a oh damn it, not like the Royal Rumble way. Those were like the two dichotomies.
Now, Nick, we want to ask you: do you have a table around you? Are you around any tables right now, or are you just?
I am.
Okay, all right. So if we hear like a little slam or what have you, that's you. Definitely. Wow, that quick. For the first time ever, Nick, you've broken a record. You've been on the show now for about 10 seconds, and now we have 2 live callers that want to speak to you.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So,
I mean, up to you guys.
Go on, bring them in.
Show.
Yeah, right. No problem, man. Thanks for coming on. Bring in area code 646. Welcome to Under the Mat Radio with Nick Mundy.
Hi, what did I say? I'm his first time on calling a radio. Okay, but still, I am a huge Nick Mundy fan. I'm a huge Screen Junkies fan. Oh, my word, I cannot believe that I'm calling right now.
Oh, cool. Very cool. How's it going?
Oh, my word, like, I cannot even... Oh, my word, like, Nick Mundy is so amazing, and he has so much talent, and he's such a genius, and, oh, man, I'm so psyched right now. I'm, like, just so excited that, like, man, like, you are getting so many new opportunities, and I just hope that, like, you get more chances in the future, and that, you know, the world will come to realize just what an incredible human being you are. And so,
wow, thank you so much.
Yeah, so
that means a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
so I mean, I love you, man. So
thank you.
Yeah, so thanks. Yeah.
Hey, can we get your name? Can we get your name real quick?
Oh, Lois Barriga.
Okay.
I'm Miss Ella on Twitter. I favorite every other tweet that you do. Like I'm on Devin Colson's league, so yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Shout out to Devin Colson too. Like, he's awesome.
Well,
okay, but still.
So much.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, next time we'll get you on movie fights. Next time there's the fan one.
Oh my God!
So.
Don't even joke about that. Like
I will.
Oh my word. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
Oh wow.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling, babe. Oh, she's adorable.
God. Well, that just cured my headache. That was the best thing. Wow, that was great. Your show's fantastic. I love your show.
It sounded like she had tears in her eyes. It's like she was about to slam the table.
Yeah,
Thank you
glad
much
we
for calling.
Fulfill her call and everything.
Yes,
well,
definitely. I believe we have another caller. Nick, how did that make you feel? Did you have tears in your eyes too?
Oh, that sounds like wonderful. That was like the best thing in the world. Like, I'm gonna replay that next time I'm in a bad mood. That was fantastic. I was like, I'm kind of like blown away. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing that with Jericho every time we talk about the show. I just do that with Jericho, and then when we're getting ready to do the show. So I'm like, I've always been on the other side of that. So that was wonderful.
That's good.
This is Under the Mat, folks. You never know.
All right, we're going to bring in the next caller, area code 512. Welcome, you're live now with Nick Mundy on Under the Mat Radio.
Go Stros. Hey, damn right. It's Noah. Hey, what up? Hey guys. So what are we doing? He's asking questions.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Yes.
All right. So Nick, you're a big wrestling fan, right? I am. Pretty sure I am. I watched that video with you and interviewing the wrestlers a while back. It was pretty funny. What was it like being with Chris Jericho? Just hanging out with him on set and stuff like that.
You know, the thing about Chris is he's a really good guy. He's incredibly professional. He was ready to get to work. And then we shot the show in 3 days. Not a lot of time, but because we have similar interests, and he's also a great improviser and a comedian in his own right. I mean, when comedians get together and improvisers get together, you can kind of feel it out, and just you start doing bits and you start doing gags. And I have two writing partners, one Clint Gage, who directed it, and Michael Truly, who was also one of the co-creators. We've been working together for 10 years, so when people talk to us, we're just like doing bits and gags, and all of our fiancés and wives want to kill us. But like that's how we communicate, and Chris fit just right in. So like we would talk about music, then we'd talk about like sports, then we'd talk about Hot Shots Part 2 for 6 hours in a night shoot, and he was incredibly professional. He knew everything he brought to it just made it better. Every joke, every character nuance. He was perfect. Like no one else, I would not want anyone else to play that part.
That's awesome.
And Comedy Central was like, guys, what do you think about Chris Jericho? And me being the big wrestling fan out of the three of us was like, perfect. And as soon as the guys saw his stuff, they agreed, and he was the best. In wrestling terms, I'm putting him over, but he deserves it.
All right. Do you have another question for Nick?
No, I actually got to go watch the Astros. So thank you,
are we winning?
No, we haven't started yet. We start in about 5 minutes.
All right, cool. Keep me updated. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Yep.
All right, thanks. Thank you. That quick, Nick. See, breaking records on Under the Mat Radio. 7 minutes in, you had 2 calls already.
That's awesome.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. There you go.
I'll do another tweet. Let me do one right now. let's just keep it. What you guys think of Raw last night?
NFC Game Boy. Where have you start off with that?
I kind of had mixed emotions about Raw. I've heard. I like the segment with Naomi.
That was great.
Yeah,
really?
that was great. I kind of heard some slurs. Me and my girlfriend was watching it, and I kind of heard some slurs that I really didn't think was appropriate. I thought that they would probably edit it a little better. That was kind of.
I didn't hear that, but that's awful.
That's good.
Awful.
I'm glad you didn't.
Glad you didn't.
No, I would have been like diatribing right now. That's awful. She's really good.
The UK crowd is wow, and
very interesting.
Yeah, and the segment with Randy Orton and Seth Rollins, I guess it is what it is, but
I think that's a bigger match. I think to make him look strong, legitimize Seth Rollins more. I mean, it's kind of like the opposite of being like, how Kane was. Remember when Stone Cold fought like Mick Foley and then Kane? It's just the face version of this. So I bet they turn Kane face to, feed to Seth Rollins, and we'll go from there. So I think there's no way in hell Randy Orton wins. So
yeah, I mean to me it seems like on Raw, it was good to see Ziggler against Neville. That was great.
That was awesome.
Seems like every time they're in UK, one of the cars has to get damaged. So Roman Reigns gets choke slammed through the car. I guess overall Raw was okay. This was okay to me.
I'm missing. I don't like Daniel Bryan not being on the show really for 2 weeks in a row. That's troubling to me.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, I like that he has the belt and legitimize it, but I'm still hoping for Brock Lesnar or Daniel Bryan next year. My fantasy booking for WrestleMania Dallas Cowboys Stadium is But Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar, and then Shield triple threat. Either match could have the belt. I could, that's what I want.
Okay.
But yeah, just throwing out ideas.
No problem.
Real quick, Nick. The second caller
Yes,
that called in, we didn't get his name. Who was that?
I don't know. I thought I heard James.
That's what I thought so too. Okay.
No.
Unless you made it know him. With WrestleMania, I know we just had Sean Oliver on. Sean Oliver didn't seem too happy with this year's WrestleMania as he takes with NFC Game Boy of being here live. What was your thoughts of WrestleMania this year?
It was surprisingly great. That's what I felt. This was the first WrestleMania I've watched with like people who were actually interested in watching wrestling, which is maybe a good sign. More people want to watch it. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was like the ladder match was cool, but it was nice to see them do a ladder match where no one was going to like end their career. So that was nice. And I like Daniel Bryan winning, and I like him legitimizing the Intercontinental belt. Sting and Triple H was ridiculous. Just a ridiculous match. Especially with the NWO hobbling down. But I kind of wanted the Four Horsemen there, but whatever. I thought the main event was great. Everything was like surprisingly good, and Seth Rollins winning was rad. Like, that it was just a lot of fun. I had a great time. The last two WrestleManias I think have been.
I have to agree with you. I will say this year's WrestleMania, since I haven't had the chance to be there both live, this year WrestleMania, I think the matches was better than WrestleMania 30, but I think that WrestleMania 30 was just more emotional. Undertaker losing the streak, and the way they set up with Daniel Bryan,
they were
very
different.
emotional. Yeah.
They were very different, and I think that was good because I think at first they were thinking, we could recreate the hero moment with Roman Reigns, and it was going to be brutal. Like the one thing I didn't want to see was Roman Reigns winning, and then 70,000 people booing the shit out of him. Like I didn't want to see that. Not that I'm like, because I don't want that guy's career to be dead because it's not his fault he's getting pushed this hard.
All right.
Yeah.
I do like that. I definitely do.
But I just
wanted to say.
Oh yeah, go for
breaking news! You got a tweet also. Noah Outlaw said it was fun talking to you.
Oh, great. It's Noah.
Okay.
Yes, I believe the guy named was Noah Outlaw, who the second caller. Definitely. So breaking all records, definitely. So Nick, of course.
Go ahead. With the show. It's fun. I've been talking a lot of wrestling. This year's been interesting because we shot with Chris in August, the show, Nothing to Report. And then I've done a couple of interviews with The Rock where I make an ass of myself. And then I did the WWE stuff, and now the show's coming out. And I even did a sketch on Conan O'Brien, where I played a wrestler covered in duct tape. So it's weird. The last year has been completely revolving around pro wrestling, which is like my favorite thing as a kid. It's really interesting. So it's been like fun meeting all these like different wrestling fans and all these. It's great. It's great to like reconnect with wrestling. It's been a lot of fun, like you guys.
Now, your show, Nothing to Report. If you can, let us know how the idea of the show started. How did y'all get Jericho involved, and what could we look forward to the show?
Well, Comedy Central, being in LA, you do a lot of meetings and you pitch a lot of ideas. And Comedy Central's been looking to do high-end digital series that could potentially be TV shows down the road if they're popular enough. And so they had us come in, me and my two partners, Team Tiger Awesome. And they were like, and we pitched them an idea about two cops on an endless stakeout. And it's kind of what would happen to Riggs and Murtaugh or Tango and Cash in between sequels. Because not everything's like big action-packed stuff. there's got to be like the emotional fallout where it's like two people. It's like being partners in anything, business, work, marriage, friends. Like, let's see the emotional turmoil that these guys go through when they're not saving the day. So that's what we did. I mean, it's a show a lot about these two broken action hero archetypes who are dealing with their problems when they're not saving the day. And then so we sold the show, and we had a meeting with Comedy Central, like, to talk about casting. And they were like, well, we want Mundy to play Moses Packard, and let's bring, what do you guys think about Chris Jericho? And the three of us looked at each other. We're like, yes, we do want to work with Chris Jericho. So we sent him the idea. We talked to him, and it was Comedy Central's idea. Thank goodness for Comedy Central. And we started working with them, and then we wrote the scripts, and Chris really liked them. He was like, I think he was a little surprised. He was like, okay, these are actually good. These were actually good, is what he kept saying. And then we shot in August, and it was great. It was one of the best shoots I've ever done. And then we had them finished around January, and it was just an easy production. Everything went in this business. Usually, when things go really well, as far as production and editing and post-production, the show is going to end up being good. And this was the easiest show I've ever worked on, from writing to editing. It all worked out very nicely.
That's good.
That is good.
Yeah. So and then it came out yesterday, and people really seem to like it a lot. It's on ComedyCentral.com and their YouTube channel, Comedy Central, and their app. They have an app.
Just I watched the first couple of episodes. Really enjoy it.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it's fun. Like me and Clint and Truly, we grew up watching action comedy. We weren't watching action movies. We were watching pro wrestling. Like Die Hard's our favorite movie. We love Lethal Weapon. And we always wanted to make our own buddy cop show, and it's fun to play with, like, the archetypes and the conventions and almost like, you know, the reused gags and kind of twist it and turn it around and being able to make fun of it while also, like, making it one big, long love letter. And the thing about Chris is, this is my favorite part of working with Chris, is he's this big, strong, handsome guy with great hair. And a lot of pro wrestlers, they like to protect their image of being a tough guy, like kind of like an alpha male. But Chris was willing to do anything and everything. I mean, the two of us were in our underwear for 6 hours from like 12 to 6 a.m. one day. I mean, he's just doing all this. He's up for doing anything. And you couldn't ask more in like a partner in a project and a partner in like, you know, acting partner to do anything, make fun of anything. He was up for everything, and it was awesome. It was fantastic. No ego, no BS. Just, hey, I got this idea. Well, that doesn't work that well. Okay, cool. Or I got this idea. This is great. Let's move on. And he was, I can't say enough good things about Chris. I think he's a really good guy.
Nick,
he will say plenty bad about me.
Nick, we have another caller for you.
Cool.
Area code 407. Can we get your name?
Hello?
Area code 407.
Is this me?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, yeah, this is Ethan. Yeah.
Hey, Ethan.
Hey,
buddy.
Yeah, I have a question for Nick Mundy.
How's it going,
go
buddy?
ahead.
Hey, I'm just curious. I know Nick is one of the people who wants to see Miles Morales in the new Spider-Man movie. I've actually kind of mentioned it on Twitter to him a few times, but now that Marvel is kind of cramming Peter Parker down our throats again, I'm just curious, do you want to see them try to redo a villain that they've already done or do a new villain?
Yeah, well, you know, here's the thing about what they're doing with Spider-Man. I'll say this. I like that if we're not getting Miles, I like that he's 15 because the one point of view you haven't seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that of a kid. And I think that's interesting. I want him to be a kid. Like, I don't want him to be just graduating. You know, he needs to look like a 15-year-old. They need to cast a 15-year-old. And I think that's unique.
I'm a 15-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get you in it. I'll make a call.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool on the villain. Like, yeah, like, I'm okay with whatever villain they go with. Probably, I don't think you could do like Sergey. I don't think you could do the what's his name? I feel like a dummy.
Craven.
Craven.
I don't think you can do Craven in a first movie. That seems like, especially because you can't do the Craven story you really want to do.
Yeah.
I think Electro could be really cool.
Yeah.
I don't love all. No, not Electro. Mysterio. They did Electro. It went terribly.
Not Jimmy Fox.
Yeah, not Jamie Foxx doing whatever the hell he was doing. I still don't know what the hell that was.
It was a Saturday Night Live character.
I thought it was Shocker.
Oh my God, no! It was just like.
No, it was Electro.
That was Electro.
You can never overact more than in that part. Yeah, the thing about Spider-Man's villains are some of them are kind of lame and they're very big. So I like Norman Osborn, but you can't do a third time.
Yeah,
you probably can't do Hobgoblin. I know it's crazy. I would do maybe a pretty sinister Doc Ock. I think could be good.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was thinking Kevin Spacey. I'd like to see as a villain. I think he could be good.
No, he would be a good villain.
Yeah, Mysterio. That's what I was thinking. And that's in the first revision of the fan-made script that I did. I have Kevin Spacey as Mysterio.
No, that's good. Yeah, no, I think that's a good move. Yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I like Kevin Spacey in Superman Returns. I'm one of the few people. I don't hate Superman Returns. It's not good. I don't hate it.
Yeah. I mean,
could only be Superman 4.
Yeah, well, I think it's better than Man of Steel, but I get a lot of
anything. It's because it's actually more fun than Man of Steel. Man of Steel just is trying to make all of the good things about DC. It's just you make one good movie that is gritty, and then that doesn't work for every single DC character.
No,
I don't think they grasp that concept.
Yeah, hopefully. Right. Well, like I always like to say, hopefully I'm wrong about my feelings about the DC universe.
Oh yeah, I just want to see a good movie. I hope that Eisenberg proves me wrong. I just want to see a good movie.
Yep. No, definitely.
Carly, did you have any more questions for Nick?
No, man, I really appreciate it. I'm a big fan, and I like what you're doing, and I see a bunch of good things coming up for you, man. So just thanks for taking the time,
man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, man.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Take care, Ethan.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla, for calling on in. See, there you go, Nick.
Now,
keep on breaking records.
You guys seem to be pretty big comic book movie fans too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we are. Yeah.
You guys what do you think about Avengers? You excited?
I am. I just
what about you?
don't know why Vision is pink. I didn't understand it. I thought he was white. Yeah, they have Vision looking pink. I didn't understand that. That baffles.
Yeah.
Shen, are you excited for Avengers?
Not really.
Oh, come on, man.
I mean, to tell you the truth, the first one I did like. The only bad thing about the first one I saw that I liked about it, the only bad thing about the Avengers when I saw it was in 3D, and I'm not a 3D person.
You can't. No. Yeah. Okay. You gotta go back and fix that.
It was very, very crappy. And the second one, it's like I have this feeling in my stomach, and I'm the person most of the time, like 90% of the time, and it's like the whole second Jinx, like it. I feel as though that it's gonna be so good, like in my mind, that it's gonna be crappy. Like to personally tell you the truth, I didn't like Iron Man 3. I really didn't. I couldn't even get in Thor.
I don't think Thor 2 is great. I actually like Iron Man 3 a lot because I'm a Shane Black fan, and it's kind of like I think it's the ballsiest of all the movies. I think it took the most chances. I think it's almost kind of like not an FU to their fans, but kind of like, hey, we're going to shock you. We're going to try something different, deal with it.
Oh, it was an FU. It was an FU when it came to
I like the Mandarin thing.
Yeah, and then
alert,
it was like,
if you haven't seen a movie in 2 years. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was the best way to go because I didn't want to see like a stereotype in Mandarin bad guy. I'd rather see something that would like. I think that's the most realistic outside of the fire breathing.
well,
I think that's the most realistic villain I've seen in a comic book movie. That could happen.
I'll tell you like this. I like the Mandarin as far as taking him from being the Asian emperor like villain into something like close to Al Qaeda. I did like that part.
Yeah.
But when they made the videos and everything, I thought it was good. But it was just the whole scene of revealing that the Mandarin was actually an actor, and to put with NSC Game Boy, I threw my drink at the screen at that one. You know, just like what he did with X-Men 3.
Oh yeah, wow! Come on, that's harsh. That's harsh.
No,
like,
I had to. It was I had to. Come on, really?
You care to tell him?
I might, especially when you grow up, and if you grow up and you actually know the comics. You know, right. I'm almost 35 years old. I've been reading comics since 1987, 88. I know about the X-Men. I know about a lot of the origins of Spider-Man. DC, I know a lot about Batman. I really didn't get into the rest of the characters because I just wasn't that really familiar with them. But when you grow up and you see how Hollywood just comes in there and just put their own twist on it, wow. I'm sorry, Juggernaut is a mutant? I didn't know that. I could have sworn he had magical powers.
Well,
that's the last time I remembered.
I will say this. I mean, and this is not to stick up necessarily for Hollywood, quote unquote, because they've made a lot of mistakes. But me and my two partners were working on Wonder Twins for DC, like the digital property. We're in the middle of writing it. And granted, Wonder Twins is just known as a joke, but like you don't, when you're writing this stuff, you don't try to change it and to piss everyone off. They're trying to make the most cohesive movie possible, because as much as that movie is with Juggernaut, to explain that he's powered by like this crystal and an amount of time that like is needed would just take forever. Like, so I get
you don't think they can do like a flashback scene where they can just show like a vision, like a cave and him finding it, and like.
If they did trust me, if they did a flashback, you would be complaining more about. You never want to do a flashback in a movie writing. You never want to use a flashback.
Oh, really?
Like,
I didn't know that.
Like, that's just what like anyone trying to make do it. Like flashbacks. I think I'm more mad about that movie about the amount of flashbacks it uses, because it's like a crutch than actual like. Like, I get your point. Like, I just feel like they probably shouldn't have used Juggernaut if they're going to use him at all. But to explain that he's powered by, like, a rage crystal ain't easy. So, like, when things move, like, also I feel like, hey, look, Sin City stayed true completely to the source material, and I can't stand that movie. So, you just got to. A good movie's a good movie, like, and you just got to try to make the best version possible. Like Iron Man, the first Iron Man is probably universally loved. Dark Knight's loved. They're different than the source material. There's a lot of that source material is so like convoluted and contradictory that you just got to get the best pieces.
All right. Well, I got one for you.
Hold on, Shane. Hold on, Shane. We got to hear from Toph. Toph, where you at, boy?
Yeah, I'm just listening to you guys.
Hey, we gotta get your input real quick before Shen continue. What's your thoughts on the new Avengers and what Nick was saying?
I won't lie, man. I'm more of a DC person. As far as Marvel's concerned, I've liked X-Men. I like Spider-Man. That's really all I care about. I think Marvel movies have a curse. With the third movie, Spider-Man 3 was garbage, X-Men 3 was garbage, Iron Man 3 was garbage, Blade Trinity was garbage. I mean, Marvel just has this thing where it's like they have a trinity, and it's like the third movie always sucks. The first Captain America movie bored the hell out of me. The second one was better, so that's like 1 for 1. Hulk, I don't care about Hulk at all. The Daredevil show is cool. Avengers is really just a visual orgasm of how many characters can we get on the screen at the same time to make fans just completely jizz on themselves. So I'm just more of a DC guy. I love Gotham. I love Flash. I love Arrow. I still watch Smallville. I love their animated animations. What's that?
Like Green Lantern?
Yeah. I'm just more of a DC guy. As far as Marvel is concerned, I've only really cared about X-Men and Spider-Man, and neither of those are featured in Avengers, so I really don't care about Avengers. More power to people that like that, but I'm more of a DC guy, to be honest.
Nick, what's your take?
About the Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lantern never happened.
Yeah,
Nick,
pretty
what's
much.
your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, look, I was never into comics. I kind of grew up watching wrestling too much to ever get too much into comics. So, like, I just care about good movies. If one's good, it's good. If it's not, it's, I've always enjoyed the Marvel movies. I like the first couple of X-Men. I did not care for Man of Steel. But, I'm just hoping, like, that they're all good, because then everyone wins. Because that's way better. It's way more fun when they're all good. Contrary to popular belief on Screen Junkies, I don't like complaining about movies. I like enjoying them and then just having no thoughts. And then just being like, yeah, this is really good. Unfortunately, there's nothing. Unfortunately, the new Terminator comes out. I have to use my powers for good.
So, Shin?
Actually, I was going to ask him about Green Lantern because, Toph mentioned it, and Green Lantern sucks so bad. But I wanted to ask Nick, what did you think about, you were talking to NSC about flashbacks in history, but what did you think about Marvel snubbing in the Wolverine movie, Weapon 11, when it was obviously Deadpool?
That movie, well, I think you got to look at it two different ways. When you're talking Marvel, you're talking about the Marvel movies that they control. And Fox controls the X-Men movies. Fox controls Fantastic Four. So it's really actually, while they're Marvel has nothing to do with those movies. That whole Wolverine movie was terrible. I mean, it's just a bad movie. I thought Ryan Reynolds was the best part when he was talking, because I think Ryan Reynolds is a really funny, charismatic guy. And
so you think he could play Deadpool?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no, that's the part he was born for. I thought he was fine in Green Lantern. That wasn't his problem. The problem was Martin Campbell, the director, didn't know what the hell he was doing and didn't really want to be there. So I think I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan.
I'm not trying to throw shade at Ryan Reynolds. I see what you're saying. I'm not trying to throw shade at him.
No, for sure. No, that movie is bad, and the decisions that they chose were terrible. But it's just I thought he was the best part, and I think Green Lantern, while it's not a good movie, I enjoyed him. But yeah, and I just learned what throwing shade means because I'm a 33-year-old white guy who's the squarest guy you can ever meet. So I'm just
throwing shade is just a slang term for like hating or whatever.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I thought Dubstep was a rapper. So
we'll make sure Nick will hashtag throwing shade your way on Twitter.
Wow.
No, I'm the guy who's like, I just stopped saying for shizzle. So that's where I'm at with the pop culture lexicon.
Yeah. Black folks we don't really say for shizzle much. And if he gave one for the streets.
No, we just stopped saying that many years ago, actually.
No, I know. Good. Yeah, I'm like,
Dogg.
Yeah, well, Snoop Dogg, Snoop Dogg's whiter than me at this point. So.
Yeah, y'all hating on Green Lantern, man. I'll watch that over Hulk any day. That's so boring.
Oh well,
Hulk never happened either.
Also, too, Nick, it's something that we do on the show. We started on our road trips that we ask that you check out on our page on Under the Mat Radio on YouTube. Is something we all started, me, Shannon, George, we started called That Never Happened. And Shin started the road trips, and me, NSC Game Boy, and Shinblade started something called That Never Happened. So any type of movie that sucks or comic book that just was so bad, we just say it never happened. So
okay, I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
Look, Die Hard is my favorite movie of all time. I've watched it probably 400 times. I watched it when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up watching that movie. It's influenced me more than my writing, and it's influenced me more than almost anything. Die Hard 5 is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Which one was that?
Die Hard
Live
5.
Free or Die Hard?
Yeah, that was bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's like there was not one redeeming quality. No, it was. Wait, was it Live Free or Die Hard, or was it
Live Free or Die Hard?
Yeah, it was Live Free,
Live Free, Die Hard.
Was that the most recent one?
Die Another Day. Or no.
Wait, who was his who was he co-partner with in that movie?
His son.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was the Russia one. He was in Russia.
Yeah. I remember watching one. I don't know which one it was. I remember watching it for I think 30 minutes, and I was bored. I couldn't even finish the movie. It may have been that one then.
Yeah, that movie, that was horrible.
Yeah, that Live Free or Die Hard was the fourth one. Let me look this one up. Thank you.
Okay, the fourth one was good. That's the one with the computer hacker.
Yeah.
I like that one.
That one.
Yeah, that one was
be
good.
Okay. A Good Day to Die Hard. A Good Day to Die Hard is bullshit. If Live Free or Die Hard, the fourth one with Justin Long and Timothy Olyphant, wasn't a Die Hard movie, and it was just a movie, I would like it so much better. But because it's Die Hard, it's got to step up to a pedigree, and it didn't, so screw it, and I'm a jerk. But A Good Day to Die Hard, I was angry. I was yelling at the screen. Good thing there was only 6 people there on opening night because no one cared. But
if we're going to talk about bad movies, this is my bad movie story. I don't know about everybody else, but I like watching movies with my mom. And one series. Yeah. She goes off of movies more than I do. But when I was a kid, the favorite movie my mom and I used to watch was We Love the Mummy with Brendan Fraser. I don't know if anybody remembers that movie. We Love the Mummy, and We Love Mummy Returns. It was really cool. And then they were getting ready to release the third movie, and Jet Li was in it. I'm a huge Jet Li fan. I was a huge Mummy fan. I was really excited, and I was like, this movie is going to be kick-ass. We saw the movie, and I just want to say, my mom, she never curses, ever. And after we finished watching the movie for the first time in my life, I heard my mom actually say this was bullshit. And she was like, never take me to the movies again. That movie was fucking garbage. And you have not seen Brendan Fraser ever since. He has ceased to exist. He's probably where Tupac is, somewhere in Cuba, hiding out from that, still recovering from that horrible movie.
I want to see Brendan Fraser in a rock in a movie.
Brendan Fraser was in Crash, wasn't he? He had that 3-minute scene in Crash.
He had to change his whole image.
He did a whole bunch of DVD movies, but one movie I did like, and it's a pretty corny movie, but it was his debut, was Encino Man.
Oh, look, that's
no.
Corny. It's just a fantastic
that movie was corny, but it's just nostalgic for me.
That movie never happened.
I'm gonna hang out.
Wasn't that the movie with Pauly Shore?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
You know what?
Anything with Pauly Shore, no.
You know what else ever happened? X-Men 3.
In the Army now?
Yes, you're right.
In the Army now?
Yeah, no.
Well, Nick,
I like early Pauly Shore. Long hair Pauly Shore. What about Pauly Shore and Kid and Play 2? In Play 2, he was in it. He was great. No, I'm sorry. He was in Class Act. I apologize.
That was DLC, Nick.
Yeah, that was DLC content.
No, Kid and Play was in Class Act.
Look on the bright side, man. X-Men 3 and the Wolverines DLC, thanks to future days of whatever that last movie was. Whatever it was.
Well, I will say this, Nick. Pauly Shore was DLC to Class Act was as much as Kirstie Alley was in Star Trek when Spock died.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
He was skinny then.
One of the movies that I hate to this day, even shout out to my mother, is a movie called Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
It's horrible.
He was running?
Say it again.
He does a lot of running.
NSC? Yeah, there was a lot of running in that movie, and everybody was on top of it.
Yeah, he does a lot of running.
Yeah.
My worst movie experience was I went to go see Mortal Kombat Annihilation the day it came out. I honestly got kicked out of the movie theaters because that was the first time I actually threw my food at the damn screen.
At least the soundtrack was good, right?
No, not even.
No, Toph. No, not the second.
No, it's Humble Part 2.
Hell,
I think we all went to high school around the same time.
Yeah. I was 97, so junior.
Class of 99.
Yeah, I think class 99. So I was like a junior.
There was a
sophomore. Junior around there.
There was a mini riot.
I actually got escorted out of the movie theater. They had
that second Mortal Kombat was better than all the Street Fighter live action movies. So
the first one was real good because the first one was done by Paul Anderson, who actually knew what the hell he was doing. So he did all the Resident Evils and stuff, but that's no.
Yeah, but you take Christopher Lambert as Raiden, and then next you know the sequel comes out. You do it with James Remar, who plays a cop in like every other movie, like a FBI agent. He was in Fast and Furious.
James Remar probably has a better career right now than Christopher Lambert.
I just want to give a shout out. Let's give a shout out to Rush Hour 3 and to Matrix Revolutions. They get honorable mention too.
Yeah, Rush Hour 3 never happened, and I saw that with my sister.
Wait, did that movie happen?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They made a Rush Hour 3?
Yeah, they did.
It never happened.
They did.
Exactly.
Yeah, it never happened, Nick. I also want to give a shout out to
Nick was like, what?
True story, man. Chris Tucker is holding up the Friday. Chris Tucker is holding up the Friday movies. Ice Cube's been working for years to make Last Friday, but Chris Tucker, he doesn't want to do it. He's trying to lobby for a Rush Hour 4 of Jackie because he thinks that'll make more money than Last Friday. But Rush Hour 3 was garbage anyway.
So that is greenlit now. The Last Friday is greenlit.
But wait a minute.
Oh, okay.
If Ice Cube is in it, Ice Cube is 4 kids like John Cena, and he doesn't really do any cussing movies anymore. So if next Friday he's gonna be in Last Friday, he's probably gonna be rated PG, especially if Chris Tucker joins it.
Hey, I heard John Cena's gonna be doing a rated R. He's doing the Amy Schumer movie. He gets crazy in it.
Oh yes. Tell us about that, Mr. Bundy. Please tell us. What is so good about Amy? Because she's not attractive or funny. So how does she get on TV every week?
I think she's hilarious. I think she's great. I think she's really. I like her sketches. I like what she does. I think she's fantastic. I think her movie looks fantastic with Judd Apatow. I'm really looking forward to that. I have to disagree with you. I think Amy Schumer is fantastic.
Well, that's cool, man. I think she's like Miss Piggy if you made her a human, but okay.
Well, what? I don't think
what? Oh my God.
Anything to do with comedy or talent. I mean, look at me. I'm not the most attractive guy in the world. Except for a certain sect of guys. But
yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I think women get judged too hard based on their looks and not on their talent. Because and that's unfair because I don't at all. There people like me because I'm funny or if I'm not, and I think, but I mean, you have your opinion, but I think she's really, really good. I think she's going to do some fantastic stuff. So,
well, Nick, to tell you the truth, I think Amy Schumer can be a freak though. She looked like she just be freaky backstage or
the
whatever.
World.
What's up,
anyway? Huh? Anyway, I wanted to tell you, Nick, that one movie that I am pretty excited for if it's done right, and it's the Straight Outta Compton movie.
Oh, my God. Dude, no, that's the movie I'm looking forward to the most this year.
Which Ice Cube isn't even playing himself because he's 4 kids. He's getting his son.
No, his son is. His son is playing him.
And he looks just like him. He sounds exactly like him. No, Straight Outta Compton, it's we almost had a movie fight. We did this championship round in movie fights for Screen Junkies the other day, and we had to get rid of the question because me, Dan, and Spencer all picked Straight Outta Compton as the movie we're looking forward to most this summer. So I know that movie looks awesome. I cannot wait.
Yes, it does.
I'm a big NWA fan, big Dr. Dre fan. That was the last time I did popular.
Okay, Nick, you're a big NWA fan.
Yeah.
Big ups to them. Now, Nick, you tell us, since you're a comedian, and we all could go around the round table. What rap group would you not want to see him do a movie on?
Jodeci?
Jodeci isn't rap.
Yeah, rap.
Yeah.
I said rap.
Ice-T's heavy metal band that he had for a while.
Oh crap!
Body count.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, look, I love Run DMC. I wouldn't care about their movie. I think NWA is the only rap group you could do a movie on because they're so special that they mean so much. Like they did so much. Not saying other hip hop artists don't have like the cachet or an interesting story, but like NWA has the story.
Well, they did a movie on Onyx. Remember them?
I remember Onyx. I don't know enough about them. Wasn't one of the dudes from Onyx Blade in the TV show?
Yes.
Sticky Fingers.
Yeah,
sadly, yes, it was.
That never happened.
Yeah,
that never happened. Was in Moesha. One of them was like played Q in Moesha, I think.
That was Fredo Starr.
Fredo Starr, yeah.
He was in The
Wire. What
Wire.
about you, Fantasy Game Boy? I know you.
There's two rap groups I would like to see a movie done besides NWA. One would be Bone Thugs and Harmony, because a lot of people don't know, and fans, if you want to do your research, you can. Eazy-E discovered Bone Thugs and Harmony. Yes, he's the one that discovered them, and he's the one that put them out. And Wu-Tang Clan. I'm a big Wu-Tang Clan fan. I would love to see a movie done about the origins of Wu-Tang and how their influence onto martial arts and Japanese culture. Because, of course, in the cross seas, Wu-Tang are like gods over there. They two rap groups, besides the NWA, I would be interested in seeing. Somebody told me Outkast, but I don't. I'm just... Technically, a group. But,
I think it's just because I was just always more of an NWA fan, and I've always been Dr. Dre fan, and I'm still the only guy waiting for that album to come out.
Detox?
Yeah.
That's another 20 years, bro.
What
about
the
Dr.
Locks? Pepper. I'm sorry?
Who?
I was joking. What about the Locks? Remember them?
Oh, the Locks. That wouldn't be bad.
Jada Kiss and all them. It wouldn't be bad.
I wouldn't
watch that.
What about you, Toph? I know you love sipping on apple juice and you live in Atlanta. Any rap groups you would like to see them do a movie on?
Oh, this might be a little obscure, but I'd actually like to see one done on Murder, Inc. Anybody that remembers them?
That would be a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, it would be.
I
probably on Logo.
I just want a 3-hour movie. I just want a trilogy about Nate Dogg and Warren G.
Oh, boy. You know what? That would be cool.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I thought this was rap groups that don't want to be in movies that you were asking, Tech.
It went on to rap groups we would like to see. It would be more fun with seeing rap groups we would like to see instead of those we don't.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'll be curious what happens after this because, Hollywood's such a copycat town. So are we going to see rap biopics about, when this does well, about, like, any rap group, like Ice-T's heavy metal rap group?
I thought that for the short time that Murder, Inc. was around in the early 2000s, like, they weren't the best group or whatever, but what I liked about them was, like, from a music video standpoint, like how back in the 90s, people like Michael Jackson and Tupac and Biggie, like, when they did their videos, it had, like, continuity to it, that carried on. Like, a lot of the Murder, Inc. videos kind of told a story about, like, the character that Ja Rule and Ashanti had. Like, I thought that the songs they did, like, I'm not saying they were, like, amazing or anything. I just thought that, they were okay, And then...
Ja Rule's singing was okay.
Yeah, but then, like, I want to say around, like, the mid-2000s, Ashanti just kind of breached out, became a single star, and Ja Rule just got in trouble, and Irv got it. Just a lot of stuff just happened, and it just kind of fell off,
50 Cent buried Ja Rule.
Yes, we know.
Yeah,
but,
we know.
Now, actually, there's a group that I would like to see in a movie, but it's already done in the biography, and I grew up on them, and I'm big fans. Was a Tribe Called Quest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They had a great biography like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Michael Rappaport did it.
I love that dude.
Nick,
yes,
we also want to give a real quick special shout out to Stuart Gilliard, which he directed that horrible Turtles in Time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 movie. One of the worst.
I did know that, but I'll take your word for it.
What'd you say, Nick?
I'll take your word for it. I did know that. You know more than I do.
That
movie.
Send it to me.
That movie was so bad. The Henson Puppet Company, they pulled out.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. That's hilarious. There's actually Aaron Couch at the Hollywood Reporter did a really great oral history on the Ninja Turtle costumes and the first movie. So if you guys are big Ninja Turtle fans, check that out.
Pull out oral?
I'll check that out.
There's a lot of connotations talking about turtles.
Yeah.
A lot of sexual connotations talking about turtles.
Yeah. Nostalgia is like an industry of itself right now. So
I'm going to check that out.
Nick, I have a question for you real quick.
Yes, sir.
While we're on the subject of the 90s and 2000s, we're talking about some of the great movies of that time. Why do you think the writing now has really shifted to being more darker theme with the comic book movies and stuff and cartoons like they used to be? The Turtles 1 movie was dark. Mortal Kombat, of course, that movie was dark, and they both were successful. And then you got The Dark Knight, that was dark, and a lot of the Marvel movies and stuff, and some of the DC movies are starting to become more dark themed. Why do you think the writing is starting to shift that way, opposed to being more family friendly?
Well, I think it's a copycat industry. So Dark Knight is arguably probably the most popular, well-received comic book movie. Not that it's a comic book movie, but it's like a movie based on comic books of all time. It's the high-end thing. So people start trying to recreate that, and the studio heads are like, I want my Dark Knight. I want my Dark Knight. And I think that what's happened with the Man of Steel, they wanted to make their Dark Knight, but Superman's a hopeful, bright character where he's not a dark, morose thing, and that's my biggest problem with Superman. It doesn't need to be like a hijinksy parody of itself, but you should feel some inspiration watching that movie, not watching just wanton destruction of Metropolis and then them making out, which was just really uncomfortable. I think it's because it's easy, but I think that's why they go darker, because it's what they think people want, and maybe some people do. I think what people really want is for the material to be taken seriously, where they try to respect it and not turn it into a joke, kind of like Batman and Robin the movie. But I don't think that happens anymore. But there's just a lot of copycatting, so like movies are probably darker than they need to be. And again, everyone's going to call me like a Marvel fanboy, and sure, whatever. But I think Marvel does the movies right. Iron Man isn't a dark movie. Captain America isn't a dark movie. Winter Soldier is politically like a dark movie, and it has dark undertones, but it's about like someone fighting through that darkness. And that's one of my favorite movies that they did. I think Guardians is a dark movie. So Daredevil is dark as hell because Daredevil's a dark character. So I think Doctor Strange is going to be scary as hell. One of the things Marvel does is I don't think they make comic book movies anymore. They take comic book characters and put them in different genres. Like Iron Man 3, love it or hate it, but it was a Shane Black action comedy, which are my favorite type of movies. He made Lethal Weapon, so he can do no wrong in my book.
The oxymoron.
Okay.
Winter Soldier was a 70s political thriller. I mean, it had Robert Redford in it. So that was also Guardians was like a space movie. Guardians was like Star Wars. And the problem with Marvel is, the problem with DC right now is Aquaman shouldn't be dark as hell. He shouldn't look like a Roman Reigns pay-per-view cover.
Right.
Superman shouldn't be dark. Wonder Woman shouldn't be dark. Batman should be dark. So just if they necessitate it, do it. Wolverine probably is a little dark. X-Men movies, not so dark. Days of Future Past, while I don't love that movie, I thought it handled the tone right.
All right. Well,
so I think we're coming out of that a little bit, thanks to Marvel.
Okay.
Deadpool's not going to be dark. Deadpool's going to be what it needs to be, but the character should necessitate the tone and not the other way around.
All right. And Nick, I know we talked off air before. I know you're running real low on time. We got 5 minutes left in about 30 seconds. Let us know how it was working with The Rock when you interviewed him, and go ahead and
I got a few more minutes, actually. So I got a few more minutes.
Okay.
The Rock's a gentleman, and again, it's going to sound similar to Chris Jericho, but he is up for anything. And basically, what happened was, I'm a big Rock fan. I'm actually more of a fan of his movies than a wrestler. He was a great wrestler, but I was always more of a Stone Cold, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Mick Foley type. Those are kind of like my four, with some Shawn Michaels. But I'm big Dusty Rhodes. I went back and watched a bunch of NWA Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair stuff, and that's like my favorite thing right now. But so Screen Jump, they sent me to Miami. Well, Paramount paid for it, like 5-star hotel, to meet Dwayne and interview the cast of Pain and Gain. Now, here's the thing. I've never interviewed anyone in my life. I'm in no way a journalist. I'm in no way a movie critic. I'm just a huge fan of The Rock. So when people ask me, like, what affiliate are you from, or what station do you work for, or what website do you represent, I just kept telling people I'm here to meet The Rock. And then people for 3 days was like, who's this giant weirdo? Because during the movie Pain and Gain, which I loved, I was standing up clapping, I was cheering, like I was the biggest fanboy of it. I mean, I it's like wrestling. You play who you are, but you turn it up to 11. And that's what I was doing. So I got to interview all the actors, and all I did was talk about The Rock and act nervous and act like a crazy person. And then when I interviewed The Rock, I think he thought I was like a Make-A-Wish kid, because he was like, oh, this is so terrible, and Mark Wahlberg wanted to punch me. And then the video came out, and it was edited so great over guys with Screen Junkies. It was a huge hit, and that's when I think Rock figured out the joke I was doing. Just this crazy super fan. And he loved it, and he tweeted a bunch of times, and he invited me to do the Hercules interview, like, junket, and that's when he called up my high school bully and prom date, but it turns out I'm actually the prick. And then we just did Furious 7, and hopefully we do something for San Andreas. So, like, it's because of him. He just, I guess, enjoys having me around, do stuff, but he's been nothing but cool. We presented them a list of ideas. Let's put it this way. We presented a list of ideas to do. They were the ones who picked the Lady and the Tramp idea, him and his guy. So that's The Rock. The Rock is just great. That's some inside baseball stuff. But I think that just shows how cool he is.
Thanks, man, for that. Real quick, and no time is running short on the show. Let us know your upcoming projects and where to find you at.
Yeah, if you can check out Nothing to Report on Comedy Central or their YouTube channel, Comedy Central or their app. All the episodes are out. Keep watching it. If you watch it and tweet it and share it, hopefully we'll make more episodes. And then if it really does well, hopefully it's a TV show. Because I think we all want to see Chris Jericho play a mentally damaged cop. And I would like to be there doing it. And then look out for hopefully more Rock interviews, more Screen Junkie stuff, more Conan sketches. I'm going to be around. So, and then I would love to, thank you guys so much for having me. This has been totally fun, spending an hour talking about wrestling and early 90s rap. I can do
movies. Thank you, Nick, so much, man.
Thank you, guys. No, this was an honor.
Thanks, Nick.
I'm a fan, and I really appreciate everything. So
thanks, buddy.
And now I know what throwing shade means.
Yes.
All right. Thanks much, man. Remember, don't be throwing shade.
No, don't throw shade. Shade is bad.
Don't throw shade.
All right,
don't
cool.
throw shade.
I still got a lot to do. Thank you guys so much. You have a great night.
Thanks,
Take care, Nick, man.
See you later.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Everybody, that was great. Nick Mundy. We got about 60 seconds left. We thank everybody for calling, and we thank Sean Oliver and Kayfabe Commentaries for calling in. Thanks for all of the great guests that called and all the fans that sent tweets and Facebook responses and messages. Shout out to Thanks, Nick Mundy, Comedy Central with The Rock, Screen Junkies, Howard Runknick, and their great show, Comedy Central is Nothing to Report. Please check them out on YouTube. We got about 20 seconds real quick. Toph, Shin, NSC Game Boy, give you a hashtag so we can leave.
Hashtag great show.
Hashtag my bad NSC.
Hashtag Tiger Woods lost.